Hello and welcome to the 11th in the Zellen art classes. My name is Grant Preston. Today we're going to be looking at just what is available to the abstract artist. And when you ask yourself that question, the first answer is a sheet of paper or a piece of canvas. Now that piece of canvas has certain opportunities. It allows us a background, a midground and a foreground. Possibilities. Now, there are many ways of doing abstract art, and I always look at it as a process, an evolution and development where you never stay the same. It's always going to change and maybe get better as you go along. And I've been through many different stages of abstract art. The first thing that a lot of artists have said, and that is fine artists, and that is that the transition into abstract art is extremely difficult. It sounds easy, it sounds like you're just going to throw the paint at it and it's going to work. It generally doesn't. You've got to start off with maybe an abstraction of a figurative subject. You can go the geometric way or whatever. But today I'd like to concentrate on those three possibilities we have. Laying down a background, putting on a mid-tone and giving a foreground. I have no subject in mind. I'm going to do what I call honest strokage, which is just instinctual, and I'm going to start off with my two darker colours, sort of a purple and a black. So we'll start off with the black. Brush quite heavily with the paint. This is acrylic, it's Zellen acrylic. It's a craft, it's called Zellen craft. And it's just a plain mid-range acrylic. Now in the construction and composition of an abstract painting, we still have certain criteria to follow. You can do the smudgel colour blending type of painting, you know, where you get a very muted colour blending, and it's always quite pretty. But if you find you need structure to your art, if you want a heavy painting, you would do the lines going across, you'd ground the painting. Or if you wanted stability in the painting, you would have to have a few uprights, something strong. So what I'm going to do is just lay down a few black strokes, maybe join them a touch, just two, at a different angle, and let that one bleed out there. This is our bottom of the painting, so we quite likely would have a little more black here. So we'll just make that area black as well. Now remember, we're limiting our background colours to only the two, so that's enough black. We could do a little, just a few more little exercise lines, just to help it blend in. Now I've got a lovely sort of purple here. And I'm going to just, it's quite heavily laid down. And I'm going to give it a, keeping my upright there, keeping my black where it is, but blending the purple in where I feel it's necessary. So this is our background. So we don't want too many colours, so I'm going to fill the complete background with just this, you know, these minimum amount of colours, because we're going to add the other colours on top of this. Now, as I say, at the moment I'm just blending in a little bit of but covering the entire painting, using maybe a different stroke here and there. We've done black that way, we can do purple this way. Here we went down, so this time I go across. And you can see I'm literally ladling it on here. It's quite thick. So all we want to do is just get ourselves a background to work on top of. Back to black again. As I said, this is all instinct. Bomb jar. A little bit of a little something that fades deeper there. Definitely a little bit here. And maybe just a touch there. So this will be our darker side of the painting. The bottom has also got some dark. Right, that's enough black. Now we're going into our mid-tones, and I've chosen a navy blue and a true red. Alright, so we'll see. I think the blue would go nicely first. So I get my blue-based brush. What's nice is that after you've used the brush a while, you'll see the colour gets onto the handle, so I'll remember that the blue one is the blue brush and so on, and it helps. You don't have to clean the brushes too much. This is a wet-on-wet process. So now I've got my mid-tones, and I want to just highlight, give it some different strokage, and some character. Now moving on to my red, just called true red. And again, some colour should flow across the canvas, so it starts somewhere and goes somewhere else. So here I'll pretend my red starts there, and it's going to come down and end off here somewhere. Right, and where it's a little splashy, I just feel as though I want to put it in, so I do. Now I can use the back of my brush now at any time just to delineate and give some sort of direction. I'm just cutting the paint with the back of the brush to help form direction. So that the red flows now across the painting, don't overdo it. Right, so those are my two. I've got my background now and my mid-ground colour. The paper, and for this is canvas. It comes out of a canvas book of 10 leaves of canvas. And it tends to curl a bit, but don't worry too much about that. So now we're going to our foreground colours, which I'm going to use this lovely dark pink, probably followed with a white. So we're going to go with the dark pink first. And literally use the same red brush. I'll just take a bit of the paint off it. And so we've still got a bit of red and blue on the brush, it doesn't matter. And now, remember your foreground is basically the subject matter. It's something they're going to see, something that your eye is going to go to. So we've got to make sense of it a bit. And so when I talk of honest strokage, I'm talking about instinctually, I'm going to use my nail now, but instinctually just putting the paint down in various directions, and what you don't like you will now start taking away. Right, so the stuff that doesn't work I take away. These here are irritating baubles, so I'll take them out. It's very wet, so it can be quite easy for me to work. That's a little annoying, that's annoying. So now I take just my thumb and again express myself across the canvas, just helping lines become more prevalent by giving it direction. Right, so now I have a look, and I've still got my white to go. So the white is going to be definitely the foreground, the most predominant colour. So there are many ways of applying it. I'm going to stick to the brush. I could use a palette, like a long spatula like this. I could use a smaller metal palette knife to draw it across. Let's just do this because it's an interesting technique. We just load this little palette knife and we just move the paint across. Here we need some direction. Right, there I've just put sometimes stabbing it and cutting it to get my straight lines, other times just flicking the paint on. Now since I have the lids too, I don't put them back on too seriously, because as long as they're airtight, you're fine. I like using, normally speaking, you might buy your paint in these smaller containers. Well, I usually decant the 50mm into the 150 so that my brushes fit in better, and I keep my wet paint in the original Zellen bottles. So now we have another possibility, which is a sponge, a kind of a porous sponge, which I will then use to just daub areas, roll it, daub it. So remember, we really don't know where we're going. So now I can go back to black again to start bringing out the areas that we want to go back. So with the areas we want to come out, we put our black colour See, this is relatively honest brushwork because my eye is just telling me where to put it. I'm looking at the whole painting, by the way. I don't look at individual little pieces. I just look at where I believe the stroke should be. My eye, as I say, isn't... I'm back out with my finger now to just blend in black to not make it obvious. Now that white annoys me there, so I can just soften it. That line needed to be strengthened, so I've got the back of my finger. Here we need that black to be more dominant. Here we can have a recession in the painting, so I pull the black into this area, let that area suck back. This white here is annoying me, so I take that out by just smearing the red. And obviously you would take white into black when you want that black area lightened, and vice versa, black into your lighter colors when you want them darker. So all I'm doing now is just gently, with the tip of my finger, just blending these things in. Okay. Now I'm going to assess what I think of the painting, what it needs, what will it need. In my opinion, I look at it and I go, I wouldn't mind a little lighter blue to help the blue come out. So I'm going to get myself a this blue might be too light, so I'm not going to use that one. Yes, I'm going to use this blue, which is a sea blue. Again, I'm going to use the brush, I think. Let me just decide. No, I'm going to use this hard palette again. You've got to know what each of your instruments, the effect they're going to create, right? You've got to have experienced it. So therefore, during your practice period, don't be scared of using different implements, because in that way you'll gain control of their effect. So I'm now going to use this one, put a little, this is just giving a little kick to that blue. Very subtle, but it's there. And a sharp line, if I want that sharp line there, I can do it. Just by putting it through, and I think we'll just join that to there. Maybe take that off there. Add a bit there. Shoot it off the top there nicely. Palette it heavy across there. That was a flat palette stroke. And here it just looks as though it needs that. Maybe a soft palette there, just a little wish of colour. So you see what that light blue has done. It's brought some electricity into the other blues. It's no longer dead or flat air. You don't want to become too literal. Let the viewer discover images for themselves or areas of interest. Right. I'm going to sit with this a while, and I'll come back after I've decided what it needs. Now, I could either leave it to dry now and then work dry on wet to define some areas or to add some interest, or trust and believe me, trusting in what you do is more important than thinking about it. As soon as you start thinking, you will start, your mind takes over the flow of the honesty, of the instinct. And when your mind takes over, your mind will say, hey, make that a person, hey, make that a duck, hey, make that a bird. That's what you don't want to happen in this particular type of abstract art. So I'm going to zoom in, give you a closer look, and then I'll work at it later. So let's look at the zoom. So we go in a little closer, in areas just to show you the type of texture on the surface. Okay, so after contemplating the painting for a few minutes, I've decided I do want to add two little things, so I'll show you them right now. It's just to do with the white, the strengthening of that line out of the painting, and an added stroke there, just to bring the light in there. And this area is also a little dull here. I've got a white in there. I've now just put a little white line there, and I feel as though I should just flick in a right.